hello, and welcome to another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. I'm Wayne Highlander with Bona Adhesives.
I'm Rob Johnson with the Bona Training.
How you doing, Rob?
Pretty good. You forgot the opening there, huh?
I got so much going on.
Yeah, you're an important man. I get
Absolutely,
it.
absolutely.
I like
Um,
the RA-51 hat. You
yeah,
look
it's
like
pretty.
a going hunting.
Yeah, I was in a restaurant one time in town here, and an old man was in there, and he came up and he asked me if I was in the army, and I realized it's because I had this hat on, and he was an old veteran. And is that no, man, I'm not in the military. No, it's just a hat. And so poor
It
old
does
guy.
look like a military hat with that R-851 on there.
Yeah. All right. So hey, Rob, summer's coming, and things are going to change. It's going to get hot. And before we go into that, let me ask you something. Would you rather be like really super hot or super cold? What environment do you work best in, if any?
Hmm.
Miserably
Uh,
cold or miserably hot?
wow. That's a tough one.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. Um, I think miserably cold.
I don't
I
know,
would rather
man.
be cold.
It is really, really close to me. And I think I'd rather be hot. So I think my body at least moves better in the heat than it does the cold. My fingers, your hands get kind of stiff to move and everything. And so as much as I hate being in the heat and the hot weather like that, I think I would take being miserably hot than miserably cold.
My feeling about being cold is I can always warm myself up.
Yeah, I tell myself that. Yeah,
Okay, I can always warm myself up.
yeah.
But, in the summer, I can't strip down nude
Well, you could.
and stain a floor.
Yeah, true. Because
You know,
are you a sweater?
I could sweat through a couch.
Hmm.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I gotta layer up when I'm staining during the summer. My
Well,
kid's the same way. He's got to layer up big time.
okay.
But another thing too is you're a warm weather guy to begin with, right?
I wouldn't say that at all.
You're you were born in Kentucky and you lived in California, right? Most of
That's
your
re
life.
It's really interesting because I thought I was born in England and I
Uh,
lived all over the place.
I forget that you're a Peaky Blinder. I forgot about that.
Yeah, yes. So you're a sweater. You ever sweat so much that you hydroplane off the toilet and hit the back of your head on the toilet seat?
No,
Yeah.
no, I didn't hit my
Well,
head, but yeah, it can get slippery.
yeah.
Yep. Are we
Um,
trying to get taken off the air? Is that what this episode's about?
no, no, no. I'm sure everybody's been there. Um, actually, I'll tell you something. There's a name for that. What you just said is excessive sweating is medically referred to as hyperhidrosis, um,
Is
or
there a
diet.
picture of me? Is there a picture
Uh,
of me on that diagram?
pretty damn close to it. The good news is it says, and I don't believe this, man. It says women are attracted to a male sweat. They're attracted to androstenol. It's a natural chemical found in male sweat. But I'll tell you something. I've sweated like a glass blower's arse, and I've never found that to work. So, but that's what they say, Rob.
You've tried it, huh?
Well, I mean, let me,
You,
you
you
got
get
no
all
choice.
lathered up and then go out to the
Hmm.
nightclubs, do you?
Yeah, yeah. Like a
Or you
heat,
just try to rub that all over Judy and see what she does?
easy. If you're in this trade, you can't help but sweat, man. But the summer's coming. Summer's coming, and it changes things.
You know what I always loved about the sweat in this trade?
Huh.
It's not just sweat, too. And then you got that layer of dust on you also.
Yeah. It's always
I
nice.
mean, before the vac systems.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you young guns out there who have the vac systems,
Hmm.
you don't know what you're missing.
Yeah.
That nice layer of skin and then layer of sweat and then
Hmm.
the layer of dust on there.
take off your t-shirt and you can almost stand up.
Yeah, those were tough days bringing multiple shirts to work.
Yeah, 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 truth. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that we're going into summertime. And it means a lot of different things to ourselves and to the job and the way we approach things. We've talked about it before, but I think it does uh, make sense to talk about it again. And I don't know, you have some things you want to talk about it, Rob, but I want to say first before we get started is before we talk about what it does to our work and everything is our health. And you and I we talk about we do a lot of PSAs on health and how important it is
Yes,
to take care of your health.
we are the picture. We embody that.
I have a one of my faults is I don't drink enough water, and we talk about heat stroke and stuff like that. It is real. If you ever see anybody that have heat stroke, is really very serious. And the problem is that you probably don't realize it till you're there. So drinking plenty of water, they say drink plenty of water even if you don't feel thirsty. Aim for 16 ounces before starting work and 5 to 7 ounces every 15 to 20 minutes. Now that's a lot of water. I mean, you could do that in really, really hot conditions, but man, but the point of it is, take plenty of breaks, drink plenty of fluids, plenty of water, and alcohol and coffee and tea, caffeinated soft drinks, those guys, they dehydrate you, so they don't count.
Did you ever see the movie Remember the Titans? Do you remember that movie?
I remember that. It was Denzel Washington.
Yes, Washington was the head coach there, and he does a whole spiel on drinking water. Water is for losers.
Mhm.
Water is for weak. And
Mhm.
it's just such a sign of the times, right? Where
Yeah.
now everything, you know, the kids who are playing sports today, they can't go 15 minutes without coaches are telling everybody to take a water break because they don't want anybody to get dehydrated or whatever. But now I got to watch that movie just to see that scene again. Water
Well,
being for the weak.
now that you said that, so my senior year was 1978 in high school, and I played football. And in the state of Kentucky, they passed a law that you had to have water all the time available for the kids because somebody had died from like heat stroke or something, another player. So we had to have a garden hose running all the time. But our coach hated it, man. I mean, you could, it's like, yeah, go ahead, take a drink. And so
Yeah.
so signs of heat stroke, a lot of different signs of heat stroke too. And I'm just going to name a few here: dehydration, fatiguing, flushing, thirst, excessive sweating, fainting, inability to sweat normally, lightheadedness, and low blood pressure, and those type of things. I've seen this happen to my father-in-law. Another signs of it. I think one time we thought my brother was suffering from heat stroke and delirium. And he stopped talking to anybody and he just kept nailing and nailing all through lunch. And when he went to go get nails for the nailer, more nails, he was like shaking and staggering. So we just let him go. I mean, it was beautiful. I mean, we just thought, man, he's killing. He's in his zone. Looking back now, maybe we should have said, hey, man, take a break.
We were at an NWFA convention in Palm Springs. Man, this was a long time ago. This is probably going almost 20 years ago, maybe even more. Palm Springs. And we're golfing. And I remember when we get we're loading up the cart and everything, the guy who's like the starter, he's like, hey, there's water, Gatorades, and everything in the cooler on every single cart. Make sure you guys are drinking, especially you East Coast guys, make sure you're drinking. And we're like, you know, easy does it. Okay. We're
Yeah,
we're hockey players here. You don't gotta,
right.
we're not worried about driving around our little golf cart, okay? And the whole time we're mocking that guy. And my cousin gets up on like, I don't know, we're probably 12, 14 holes into it. He gets up, stands over the ball, and falls over. Just
Wow,
clunk, right?
nice.
We're all laughing like hell. I thought he was just joking
Mhm.
around, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Nope, he wasn't joking at all. He had
So,
he got the heat stroke. The guy was right because we thought they were going to charge us or something for the drink, so we weren't touching them.
Interesting. Well, you were in Arizona and you guys are from a different part of the world where you don't have that dry heat. And
No, it's Palm Springs, California.
oh, okay. I thought you said Arizona. Same thing. Same thing.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, they're probably right there, right? Yeah.
yeah. Wow.
Oh my God.
Um,
But we thought he was being a clown. We thought he was just kidding around
oh man.
and fell over.
Oh man, that's brutal. Um, another sign here, I'm reading signs of heat stroke. Another one is listening to excessive rap music. Did not know that.
Rap music can
Yeah.
cause heat stroke.
Well, the signs of heat stroke is that that's a sign of it. Um, my
I never
brother,
know if you're serious or fooling around sometimes. That one,
no, that was dead serious.
that's a
Yeah, yeah,
somebody wrote that.
yeah. No, I don't know what it is. All right. So on the job, how has it changed things on the job, Rob?
Heat stroke?
No, heat.
Oh, okay.
No,
Now you want to get back to
yeah.
you're done with
That's
your
I'm done with on the body and physically how it affects you as a worker. Although one thing I will say, you said something earlier there, and it's so true. When you're sweating and you're sweating, for hours at a time, and you put on a fresh shirt, you take that shirt out, put on another shirt. Doesn't that feel good
Oh
to
my
get out?
God. It's awesome.
Bringing a change of clothes, and actually, I don't know how guys work in jeans anymore. I mean, we did it all our whole life, but man, clothes that don't breathe, and it's a good way to get swamp too, by the way. But the clothes that don't breathe, that are clunky and heavy and everything, they make clothes that are so much more fitting for our trade now than ever before. That can be more comfortable.
Yeah,
But
but I finally found the right pair of jeans that I think I look pretty good in.
really,
Yeah, the way they give me
contour,
a little form and they
yeah,
contour and they're
all right.
a little tight around my boot.
Mm-hmm. What you
So
got?
what's that?
What you got?
Wranglers.
Wranglers, no kidding.
Wranglers. Yeah, but I don't know, there's like 92 different cuts of Wrangler, but
Well, oh, that's the problem now.
these I'll take a picture and send it to you. I think I look quite special.
If you wouldn't mind, that'd
And
be nice.
yeah, yeah.
I actually found a pair of jeans too that's different than any jeans I've ever worn before, ever. Seriously. They're called Mac jeans, Mack. Most comfortable jeans I ever had in my life. Like I could do high kicks with them if I could do high kicks. They're expensive though, crazy expensive. So but if you go on eBay, I
The next time we're together, I need to see the Bruce Lee high kick,
yeah,
please.
yeah, you got it. All right.
That would be awesome.
I guess we can start with
So let's talk about let's get the show going here. Okay. Let's talk about some things that you want to do because summer is just around the corner. We still have a little time to get some of this stuff done.
mhm,
Okay. It's only April,
yeah.
but once school's out, that's when the what hits the fan with our
That
schedule.
that first day of blistering heat, you come down to reality hits real quick, and usually it's for me. It's like, man, I wanted to lose weight before all this happened, man. I knew I should have lose weight. I knew I should have got ready for this. But that first day of blistering heat, man, that's a killer.
How many floor guys that wear shorts year round?
Yeah, a fair amount of them.
I'm
Yeah,
amazed.
yeah,
I am it's a riot. The guys who are coming into training, no matter what time of year,
yeah,
they're wearing shorts.
yep, yep,
All right, are we gonna get the show going, or are we gonna still
yeah,
talk
yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
how
That's
how you get hot?
men's clothing. Go ahead.
So it's springtime. All right. So hey, number one, it's still not too late to get trained on some of the new products and procedures.
Okay.
Get trained up, right? In the middle of the summer, when somebody asks for something, you don't want to have to, oh, geez, I gotta, figure it out now. That way, when summer hits, bingo, you're ready to
Yeah,
go. You're good to
yeah,
go.
yeah.
You want me to keep going?
What are you dead now? I mean, what you got one? Yeah,
Uh, All
you
right.
thought you were done?
Uh, no, I thought you were, I thought we were,
No,
you
but I,
go,
I
I
I can
go,
add
you
some
go, I
things.
go.
Okay, well, I didn't take notes, but
Well, you did kind of fall asleep on me there.
well, my computer froze. Um, so I will say something though. One thing that we've done towards the end is bringing out like a high speed fan and just keep that fan on the room in the room goes a long way too, man. I mean, God, I'll tell you something, man. You're doing this for 8 to 10, 12 hours a day. Finding ways to make yourself the most comfortable in this job that you can. It makes I've talked about it before, like long haul truckers, guys that are out in trucks all day long, driving across the country, have like the most comfortable seat of all time. Like them seats are luxurious, man. They've got shocks in them and everything, and they're super, really just not. And it's what we do is hard as hell. I mean, four guys work their butts off. So if you can find little ways to, even if it's bringing a cooler with ice in it that you can stop once in a while and get a really cold ice drink or something like that, makes a big difference. But anyhow, I'll let you go ahead. Keep going.
Or if
Getting
you got your kind of money, you can just go sit out in your air conditioned seats.
well, true, yeah. Let the truck run all day outside.
The air conditioned seats. Yes. All right. It's still spring. Okay. Let's
Yep.
get our equipment ready. Let's get our trucks in tune. Let's get everything ready to go. Build some extra cords, whatever you need. You don't want to have to stop in the middle of the season, the big season, to get equipment repaired and things that you could have got done in the spring.
Okay. Well, you could say that about wintertime. You could say that about springtime too. You could say that about the fall. Hey, let's do a
No,
show on the
no,
fall. We should get your equipment ready, get your equipment running good. Because
no,
fall's
no,
coming. I see the first
no,
leaves changing.
no, not one bit. Remember, okay, there's also guys who listen to this show that are in the sport business.
Okay.
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 And most of our guys who are, even regular contractors, not sport guys, their big push is the summer.
Okay.
That's everybody's busy season.
Okay.
So all I'm saying is get your stuff ready. Get it repaired now. Don't wait until it breaks down in the middle of a job. And now one breakdown could cost you days, put you behind on different jobs. Okay.
Okay.
So, so now you're going to disagree with me? What I'm
No,
saying?
it's somewhat valid. Okay.
Oh, oh boy, this is going to be a long. What time is it? How long has this been going on? Oh
20
my
minutes.
gosh.
You're on
All
step two.
right, let's get our schedules in order. Now, I know that's a no-brainer, right? Get your schedules in order. But when I also mean get your schedules in order, guys' vacations, make sure you know when they are and schedule accordingly, right? Because if somebody comes to you and goes, "Oh, well, by the way, I'm on vacation in, you know, June or July or whatever," and you didn't know about it, now you're scrambling.
What are you doing?
Go ahead, take counterpoint. Here we go.
I would say the same thing in the fall. I would say the same thing in the fall. I'm going to fast forward until September and do a fall show. Listen, guys, fall's coming. And a lot of guys take advantage of this weather to go hunting and fishing. So you want to make sure you get them vacations scheduled. We're doing a show on the summer, on the
Why?
heat. You got a
A
lot of
lot
things
of
that you got a lot of things.
a lot of people,
That's when I go on
huh?
vacation
A
because
lot
it's
of
too hot
people
in the
going on
summer.
vacation in the
Too
fall.
hot. Yeah, it's too hot in the summer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got a
You know
lot of
what?
good.
Yeah, I got news for you. Okay.
What?
99% of the world go on vacation in the summer. 99. That's a proven fact. I'll show it to you.
Will you?
It's you
I don't
cheapskates that go on vacation in the fall
things are
because
cheaper. It's off
everything's closed
season.
down. Yeah.
I
So
don't have to see
everything's off
kids.
season. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Get to the hot stuff. Get to the summer stuff. So let's get back to the summer. Let me. Can I throw one in there?
Please do.
Okay. let's start with the van, right? It's hot out, and the stuff your finishes in the van, your adhesives in the van, your stains are in the van. It's hot out. It could be 80 degrees outside. It could be 110 degrees inside the van. So, making sure we bring the stuff outside to the van and kind of acclimate them into the house that you'd be working in, and that would be one for me. That's actually heat related stuff.
You see, this is where you need to pay attention to when I send you something because I did it both ways. I did it seasonal stuff, right?
Okay.
Because the summer season is going to be busy. And I also did heat related stuff. Okay. I did both. You can only do one thing. You're probably the worst juggler in the world. One ball. Watch me juggle. Okay. That ain't juggling.
Well, get to it.
I'm trying
Okay.
to
Okay.
get through
Okay.
page one.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And then page two, if
Yep.
you notice, okay, look, everybody, see, there's page one, and then page two. What's it say? Climate and coatings on page two.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
no,
let's.
not Highlander. No, we went. I'm gonna just jump around and about everything.
Okay. Well, let's go to the next one.
No, I'm done. Play the 75 World Series clip right now. We're done.
Okay. Let me read your next one.
No, no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no,
No, no, no. Let me read your
no.
next one.
Okay.
Let your distributor know what your needs will be, month to month minimum. For heaven's sakes, what the hell has that got to do with the summertime? What's that got
It,
to do with the summertime?
it has to do with the summertime because the summertime is most guys' most busy time. So if you need something and your distributor doesn't have it because you didn't let them know, you're going to get put behind.
Oh my God. Okay, let's go to your next one.
Wait a minute. No,
I'm just
wait,
reading
wait,
yours
wait.
now.
Hold on a second. Everybody, everybody listening to the show, Wayne and I, we try to come up with ideas and we write down some notes. Okay. So I wrote down 2 pages of these notes and I sent it to Wayne. I will show you what Wayne sent back to me. You know what he sent back to me? Excellent! Exclamation point. All capital letters. Excellent. I'll put that up on the show's website, so you can see that Highlander has lost his mind.
I say that like I would say to like an 8-year-old kid who caught his first ball in softball.
Ah,
Okay, let
hey,
me go.
speaking
Let's
of,
go. Oh no,
wait a minute. Wait a minute. Speaking of 8-year-old kids, last night Luke opened up his baseball season. Got to
hmm,
go to a baseball hockey season's over. Johnson boys are out of hockey, but now the Chapins are playing some ball.
okay.
Game one, Luke's first game, 1 for 3, double, 2 RBIs, played center field and he caught. Awesome game, and they crushed the other team like 13-7. So great way to start the season off. Congratulations, Luke Chapin, number
Fantastic.
8 for the Angels.
How old is
Beautiful
he?
hit. I think he's 10.
So he's writing now. Like
What's that?
like in school, he's writing now. They're that at that age. I don't have kids.
Right? Writing?
Writing.
Yeah, I got bad
Yeah.
news for you. They're writing in nursery school now. You
Huh.
can't get into nursery school unless
Huh.
you can.
Well, maybe you can ask Luke to write some of these things for you next time. I'm going to get to your next one. I don't
Okay. All
team
right.
building team building event when it's nice outside. Release a little stress and pressure to keep employees engaged. Oh my God. I,
Yeah. Yeah. And the reason, folks, that Wayne doesn't like this one is A team building event for Wayne is to get a metal yardstick and just keep beating his people until they perform.
Yeah.
I was just thinking maybe a golf outing on Saturday, a barbecue, something just to because it's pressure packed. Apparently, you never worked a pressurized summer. Maybe that's the deal.
No,
You never had that. Okay. There
no.
are some of us out there that
I want to
you had to
apologize
make
to.
hay in 6 months. You didn't have an entire year. You had to go nuts.
I think
So,
this is what this is. I think this is coming from you being a sports guy and just that part of your life is coming through right now. Because I think this would be like sports guys more so than regular guys who do this every year and every season and every
well,
month.
there's a bunch of regular guys or not non-sport guy contractors out there who want to probably knock you in the head because they get pretty busy in the summer.
Who? Not not sports guys? Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Let's move on. Utilize site de- Utilize site delivery and repair services to keep people on site. Midday product pickups are huge momentum killers. I don't know what happened to you. I just,
wow.
I don't know what happened to you. Let's go to, okay, but I think you're getting good here now. We got
You
all
don't
that in the past.
you don't
Ah,
like that? You don't like that one?
no,
That
no.
listen to me. That's a year-round one.
Of course, that's what I'm saying. We're talking about summer.
That's a year-round one. Summer is going to be more important, but that one's a year-round one.
There is something we can get
I
out
can
of this.
imagine how many times you would say to your brother, "Oh, I'll be right back. I had to go get a putty knife," and then you were gone for 3 hours, down at the beach or something,
Yeah, that's
while
about
your
right.
brothers are busting their. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I'll tell you what.
your brothers are gonna get back to me on that one.
First of all, I'd like to apologize to the listeners for so far, but there is some value, oddly, weirdly, we can get out of that last one he brought up. Utilize site delivery and repair services to keep people on site. Midday product pickups are a huge momentum killer. Okay, so on its face, yeah, not important. But we've really talked about recently about using Uber to drop off stuff to you, and you brought that. That was your you mentioned that to
I
me.
could not believe when I saw that an Uber Eats guy came into the distributor where we were doing a demo, and he said, delivery for so and so, and they loaded this guy up, and he brought it out and I was like, that is
Brilliant.
brilliant.
How many times
That
would
is
you?
brilliant.
How many times would you use that service when you were a contractor was available? How many?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Never. Because I used to like to leave the job site, go fart around, and,
Oh
spend
my
days going out to
gosh.
get putty. Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I
know.
try.
Okay.
I try to help you.
Yeah, I hear you. I appreciate that.
Okay, but I think he's getting into something, the meat of it right now. Okay, so let's go. You got some good
One
stuff
more
coming.
thing on that.
Yeah.
One more thing on that. I have noticed this season that a couple of distributors out there, I don't know what's going on. I mean, on the East Coast,
Okay.
there's a couple of distributors now that have repair trucks that are on the road. They'll come out to the job site and do repairs. So
Hmm.
I thought that's a good idea.
Interesting. Yeah.
I like that. Yes.
Okay. Good stuff. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So
So I think he's
now you
getting.
want to get into you see the way I was going here. The first part of the show was going to be coming into the season. The second part of the show was going to do with the actual heat.
Yeah, but this is like a three
You
hour.
understand?
You ever been to like a 3 hour movie when they could cut out the first 45 minutes of it? I think this is that though. This is you're coming into your own right now. All right. Good stuff ahead. Go.
Okay. All right. Listen, big issue that guys have. Okay. Like you were just saying before, completely off, out of whack, out of sync about leaving finish in the truck. Okay. I found out exactly what happens, because we've always said you don't put cold finish on a hot floor, hot finish on a cold floor. You don't do that.
Yeah.
All right. Here's what happens. Okay. Trucks can get so hot, like you were saying, that finish can get up to, in certain parts of the country, in the truck, 160 degrees. That's insane.
Mhm.
Okay. Even if it's not 160 degrees, when you put hot finish on a cool floor, let's say the finish is 85 degrees and the floor is 65 degrees because you
Mhm.
get the AC cranking.
Yeah.
Okay. What happens now is the hot finish gets into the little air pockets of the wood and it heats those air pockets up. When those air pockets get heated up, they release air bubbles. And that's what you get when you're doing hot finish on a cold floor, tons and tons of little tiny bubbles. And that's where the bubbles come from.
You're like Rain Man. Whatever he had, you have, because that's great, great, great information right there. That's really good stuff. Along with the craziness ahead of that, but that was really, really good, good information. So yeah, that's a very valid reason for bringing in the finish and not letting it get too hot in the truck. No
So
hot finish.
now I'm
What?
Rain Man.
Hmm.
So you like that information, but what you're
Yes,
thinking, my other information is when they ask Rain Man, how much does a candy bar cost? And he goes, oh, I don't know, $10.
yes, yes,
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. You know
So
what? See, it's starting to come around now.
there you go. So
Starting to come around.
don't put hot finish on a cool floor, and don't, and the same thing goes the other way around. Don't put cold finish on a hot floor. It makes
Yes.
sense. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Go ahead.
No, you wrote it down, obviously.
All right. Now, by allowing the finish to dry and cure properly, it allows the polymer chains to do their thing. The polymer chains is going to, once they're together correctly, you're going to get chemical resistance, scuff and mar resistance, good gloss retention, the whole thing. Okay. That's where you have to maintain serious airflow. Not so much airflow, but air exchange. Okay. Air exchange.
Can you talk about a gym floor that's just been coated and it's a Friday, and so you everybody locks up the doors, the windows are locked up, it's a 10,000 square feet floor, you've just coated with a finish and you left. Why that could be a bad thing and what the ramifications of that can be.
So you're asking me if I could talk about it? Yes, I could, but you've pissed me off so much. No, I'm not going to talk about that.
Oh, if I say please.
All right, that's a little bit better. Yeah. Well, we've talked about it on the show before. It's called solvent rain. Okay. When you've got a couple of coats down, oil or water too. Okay. This is not just, one or the other. It's either or. If you don't give the solvent some place to release to, some place to go, they're just going to keep building up, building up, building up. And eventually and I've seen it. I mean, we actually saw it one time at a high school in Long Island because Long Island seems to be just one of the most notorious places to get stuff to dry. I have no idea why. It has something to do with, I know, being on the coast or whatever, but it just seems like Long Island is crazy for this kind of thing. And that's where we saw it. And we actually came in, they had put two coats of finish down. We got there around 11 o'clock and they had already two down. So they were there at like 5 a.m., the custodians. And I'll never forget, I walked in the door, kind of looking around, and my boss at the time was just a brilliant guy. I learned so much from him about this kind of, airflow and stuff like that. He
Thank you.
looked at me and he goes, Mr. Johnson, that's what we call a solvent rain cloud. And you could see it. It was nuts.
It's like a cloud
And
that hangs over
it,
the floor.
yes. And once it gets to a certain point, all of a sudden that cloud comes down. So now you got active solvents laying down on a floor that really is not completely cured out, and that's where you run into some issues.
Okay, so what happens? What can happen to the finish when that happens?
It's not going to cure correctly. You could actually turn the curing off. So we all know finish does two things: it dries and it cures. Drying is being able to walk on with socks. Curing is living on, playing on, things like that. So air exchange and air movement are the two keys to the summer. Moving air, but also exchanging air, not just moving the air that's in that room, but getting that air out, that solvent filled air out, and fresh air in.
You
How's
know,
that?
it's
That Rain Man stuff?
it's
That Rain Man
beautiful.
stuff there?
Yeah, that's really nice. That's beautiful. So, and it really is kind of these things are really kind of common sense if you think about it. You know what I mean? That can of stain is the same stain in Hawaii as it is in Arizona. It's the same stain in August as it is in January. It's conditions that change, and we just have to know how to use these conditions and work around them. And that fresh air exchange is important, and that we always say what I always say is the problem with bad habits is they work most of the time. You do these things, you close up, it's a Friday, you get out of there. But it's a big, huge job, and there's all that finish sitting in there, and that doesn't have anywhere to go. It really just makes sense that after it starts to dry a little bit, to open it up, get a fresh air exchange, move the air around, helps it cure, makes it harder, and makes a lot of sense. Good stuff.
Well, especially with oil base. I
Mhm.
mean, like I said, this goes for both, but for guys, I mean, there's still a lot of sport guys, there's still oil being used out there. Okay. There's, resident, everybody, there's still oil being used out there. It ain't gone yet. And, winter, forget about it. Winter's awesome for oil, right? Nice. Everything's dry, but you throw a little humidity and some solvent filled air on an oil based floor in the summer, that can take forever. That can take forever to dry. And if it's taken that long to dry, like even if you read Archaeans, if you read the label on Archaeans, it's like 2 to 4 weeks cure time for oil-based products. Well, the
Yeah.
reason is because of that humidity. 2 weeks in the winter, 4 weeks in the summer if you got crazy humidity, if it's August.
Yeah.
So now the other thing we talked about airflow and everything, not when you're applying. Okay. When you're applying the product, we don't want any airflow moving at all. Winter or summer,
Mhm.
definitely no airflow.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, once she's flowed and leveled out after an hour, hour and a half, now you can get that airflow, air exchange,
Mhm.
evacuating air, all those good things. Like that's when you want to start that. You want to give it time to flow and level out, let her do what she's going to do, then come back and start with the airflow,
Yeah.
air exchange.
Yeah. Even in
And you
like,
really have to watch those dead pockets of air. How many times have you coated a closet and then shut the closet door and kept coating and didn't
Mhm.
remember to open it? You
Yeah.
know, those are the things you got to watch.
Yeah, and sometimes like in with poly, sometimes you put the next coat on and you get some orange peel in certain areas and stuff. Where it wasn't, some boards weren't quite dry, right?
Right.
Like even you talked about airflow, and you want complete dead air when you're coating the floor. In small kitchens or whatever, we would also reach inside the refrigerator and turn the refrigerator down so it wouldn't kick on. In other words, when you're rolling finish in front of the refrigerator, and all of a sudden the air kicks on from the refrigerator.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Absolutely.
make the conditions in your favor. All right,
Absolutely.
what else you got?
Um, well, coming into the summer, in the winter, we really don't worry about humidity because actually we're worried about it being worse. We're worried about the low humidity, things drying too fast.
Yeah,
The high humidity, though, can really cut our drying and curing down. Okay. Central air is a great way to lower humidity. Notice I said central air. Okay. You run the central air conditioner, you turn that on, you're running that can cut your humidity down by about 25% because it's actually removing moisture from the air. Um, but the issue you run into with those units is once it hits a certain temperature, they'll turn off. So, you have to kind of set things so that air conditioner is going to keep coming on, staying on, or whatever. Okay. And that's going to bring me down to another one, our recommended temperature. Now, these are just recommendations. I know a lot of people are going to fall off their chair when I say this or stumble. 65 to 80 temperature, 40 to 60 on the humidity. Those are what bonus states on our cans. These are the recommended areas where we want you to be when you're coding. Some the when I'll go back to the air conditioning, the one that doesn't count for air conditioning are those air conditionings that are the window
The
units.
swamp, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
All they do is take the air in that room, cool it, and spit it back out. So if that air is filled with solvents, when we found this out the hard way, we stained the floor on Friday, came back, and ran the air conditioner the whole weekend in that room. And we came back on Monday and it wasn't dry. The
It's
stain never
regurgitated
dried
that
because we just
same.
kept, yeah. So, hot air rises, cool air goes down. So now if you got solvent filled air and you cool it off, you're just chucking it right back down on the floor.
So we all, I mean, we all know that the certain parts of the house heats up more than others. And sometimes when you go to floor, you'll be going along fine. And then you get to a certain part of the house and man, is it hot in there? And the floor is super hot and the finish starts to stick. Like, oh, and you can feel it with a T-bar sometimes running across with a T-bar. Like, oh man, you can feel that the floor is really hot right here. So by using just even thin plastic on the windows and everything, it goes a long way in stopping that from happening. And
Yep.
when you were talking about these things and coating floors, I was thinking back to a job I coated in Arizona, and I went out to work with some guys, and they tie rags around the containers of finish because if a drip hits the floor, it's set up right now. It's so hot in those climates. Those guys are super good at coding and they've adjusted to their environments. And they like some areas you could okay drop hits the floor. Okay, well by the time you next couple runs, you're gonna incorporate that into the finish. Um, in Arizona, some other climates, man, that drop hits the floor, and in no time at all, it's set up already. So yeah, it's for solar gain. Even sometimes coding early in the morning, getting used to those schedules. They're coding late in the afternoon, in the evening, maybe even sometimes goes a long way in helping on your coach too.
Yeah. Our
Even
recommendation is 3 mil clear poly. Three
okay,
mil clear poly over that. And what that will do is it'll block out the heat, but let you still have the daylight to work with.
yeah, cool. Um, what else now? Even the way you coat a floor, I talked about it in Arizona. I went out there to show those guys how to roll because they're T-bar guys. And I went out there, in my climate, in the Bay Area, very, very forgiving, I would say. And I went out there and I went, holy smokes, man, I don't even know if I want to roll in these conditions. I'd much rather T-bar in as hot as it was and as fast as the finish sets up. We ended up just T-bar on the floor because to me, it's a quicker process. Now, I've gotten quicker at rolling than when we first used to roll. I think we were more meticulous about it, and we kind of guys are finding out it's more forgiving. They can go a little quicker. But back then, T-barring was way faster than rolling, and so we ended up just T-barring it because the conditions. That's what they called for. So
Did you ever T-bar oil base?
I did, and I didn't like it. Um, I think some oil base lends itself to being T-barred easier than others. And
Mm-hmm.
I just for me it's like when I T-barred Polly, like 99.9% of the floor looked stunning, like man, looked like glass. But like working out of the hallway, it was like less forgiving. Like any little, you can see like little shine from the T-bar a little bit if you're not super, super careful. So I got away from that. Uh, like I said before, I started with a brush, 6-inch brush, went to a lamb's wool, went to the T-bar, went to rolling. When I started rolling poly, we rolled miles of woodline, Bona woodline poly. And after we started rolling, that was game over. I wouldn't put it on any other way.
All right. So you have applied oil base. Let
Yeah.
me know how much oil base you.
Oh my gosh, a ton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever have it sometimes where you put down a coat of poly and you came back the next day and it was like you were being punched in the face with the poly?
With the smell?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like burning your eyes,
Yeah.
burning your nose. And we're
Yeah.
used to the poly, right? That never
Yeah.
bothered us,
Right. Right.
right?
Yes.
I
Yep.
mean, I would love when somebody would stick their head in the door and they'd be choking and gagging. We're like, what is your problem? Right? But then every once in a while, you would walk into a job, or I would walk into a job, and you're like, holy crap,
Yeah.
like
Already feel.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I go back to the solvent cloud. Okay.
Okay.
That that means that you're walking into that solvent cloud. And if that solvent cloud lays back down on that oil base, forget it. That's going to
Yeah.
take forever. When you walk into that job, okay, that is like emergency fans, windows, and blasting everything out. Get it all out of there, evacuate. But the question I was going to ask you, ever pull poly or ever apply poly, and all of a sudden it just seems like it's rolling all over the place?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Really slick.
yeah, like
Yeah.
slick, like
Yeah.
like it's on ball bearings,
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking
right?
about. Yes.
Yeah. How many times a year that happened to you? Two, three times a
Yeah.
year?
Yeah. Once in a blue moon. Yeah.
At most, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I've talked about it, and I talk about it all the schools. Do you know what that is?
No.
That is heavy dew points.
Okay.
Okay. Now it's the
Interesting.
same for water, but it's really, really tough with the oil. All right.
Okay.
So here's what happens. If your dew point, okay, let's say your floor temperature is 65. For the inside dew point to be okay, it needs to be 70 or above. Okay. It needs to be 5 points away.
Okay.
But if your dew point is closer to that 65, okay, actually, it's the other way around. I said that wrong. It needs to be under that, can't be over that. Okay.
Okay.
So if your dew point is 66, it's no good. Okay. You need to be 5 points away from the temperature of the floor. Because what happens if that dew point and that floor temperature get really close,
Mhm.
you start to get little microscopic beads of water on the floor, just like a glass of ice Coke or soda or whatever,
Yeah.
ice cold soda outside during the summer, all that stuff dripping down the edge. That's kind of like dew. That will happen to the floor. The only time I've ever seen it when we started to watch it and pay attention and everything was on like the day before a job. You'd say the weather heat index warning tomorrow, where the temperature was crazy high, humidity was crazy high, but we're not worried about outside dew points.
Yeah.
You're worried about inside dew points.
Mhm.
Okay.
Same. Yeah. If you ever walked in a warehouse, there's a great big warehouse that's enclosed, and you see like puddles forming on the slab, even though it's all enclosed. That's the same thing with the dew point.
Yep.
Uh, okay, good stuff. What else?
That's all I
Heat.
got.
I think that pretty much covers it. But that's good information on why. It's always good to know why. When we say don't do these things and everything, but to hear why, I think really makes it, more like, all right, there's a reason why.
There,
Okay.
one. Let me add one more thing, because I remember the first time I heard all this, and I was reading it, and I was like, that doesn't make. How the hell am I going to get? I know what the dew point is outside. You just check the weather, but how do you figure out the dew point inside? So what you do is you go on your phone is dew point out calculator for free on the app. It's
Okay.
an app I have.
Okay.
Okay. And you take the relative humidity of the room
Yeah.
and you take the temperature of the floor.
Okay.
Use one of them laser thermometers.
Yeah.
You take the temperature of the floor and the relative humidity of the room, which is easy to find out. You
Hmm.
put that into the dew point calculator. Just those two. That's all you need is those two numbers. Hit the button, and it spits out what your dew point is for that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Now you know that the temperature needs to be at least 5 points higher than that
Good,
dew point.
good stuff. You know, what does it matter? I mean, you have to do these type of things. Like I said, maybe you could be on 50 jobs and it won't matter, but one job will matter. I mean, where I see a lot of times with it's drying uneven, whatever. Let's say you've got a four-bedroom house, a ranch style house. You got a great room up front, the kitchen, and everything, and then the hallway. But they got a long hallway going to the four back bedrooms in the back that are kind of closed off. There's no air back there and what have you. And they say same when you stain the floor. You walk in, to your point, where you walk in and it just smells a little stronger than you want it to smell in the morning. When you walk across the floor, you're not getting transfer, but your feet are sticking to it a little bit. Your tennis shoes or your boots sticking to it a little bit more than, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
Yep.
want it to. In which
You know
case,
it ain't
then
right. You can feel it. You can
you
smell
know
it and you
in
can
your
feel it.
heart it's not right.
Right.
You want it to
You
be
know
right
there's
so
something
bad.
wrong. Yeah.
You've waited
Exactly.
overnight like you always do. You got a schedule to maintain. You just but there's something telling you it just smells a little too strong. It sticks to your feet a little too much. Even like I said, you're not getting any transfer. A lot of times, what you can do then is take a white towel, put it on there with your hand on the floor, leave it for about a minute, and then wipe it, and then see if you're getting any transfer. uh, I always say that you got a schedule, a homeowner has a schedule, but the floor has a schedule too, and it don't care about us. And this is when you have to really be able to stand your ground and say, listen, it's just not right. We have to wait. And I understand this, that, and the other. But you paid me to make responsible decisions. And this is a call I have to make. It's just not ready. So,
One of the things I like, the reason I like talking about the dew point, it's not like you're going to check every single job and make sure your dew point is right. But every time that happened to me before I knew what was going on, my initial thought was, what the hell's wrong with this finish?
yeah, your
I got a
antenna's
bad
up.
batch of finish. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
finish is bad. There's something wrong with this finish.
Hmm.
Where it was, it was total environment. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was hot and sticky and crappy and everything. And,
Hmm.
we just didn't figure it out. We just thought, oh my God, this is bad finish. What are we going to do? Something ain't right here. And
Yeah.
boy, when I found all this out, and I got all that dew point information,
Hmm.
and I think I mentioned it before from the American Painting Association, and I talked to the tech guy at the American Painting Association, and he really did a deep dive into this. And because dew points with exterior painters, dew points are everything,
Yeah.
according to
Yeah.
him. He
Yeah.
goes, that's a
Wow.
literally we're gonna paint today or we're not gonna paint today
No
type of
kidding.
thing in their
Wow.
world. Yeah.
Cool.
So that's it. That's all I got.
You covered a lot today, Rob. You started off really, really weak and ended up really, really strong. So
That's
I
my
don't know
new
what to make of
nickname,
it.
huh?
Yeah.
I'm Rain Man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for listening. Summer's coming. Take care of yourself and your floors. And this has been another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. Please stay tuned for another episode.